Mercenaries. Some don't use them, but they are a powerful tool, so let's check them out. So, if we can see now, already we can see actually Mercenaries' influence here. The Golden Wind Riders mercenary group is disbanded and the Ocean Lost Fathers, so we never actually got to see those guys. But mercenaries are the second option on your main screen. Hire mercenary companies. There will always be 5 mercenary companies, though some won't be available as they may be dead. So, the mercenaries, we have Ragged Prophets, led by a guy called Goric the Foul, 297 ragged levies. So mercenary groups vary massively. We'll see if we can find any. There we go. So, for example, this group is currently available for hire. However, they charge 1,386 gold per invasion. So, what you tend to find is groups that charge for invasions, such as these. There's a lot of them, 395. They will be cheaper usually to hire for smaller attacks, but if you hire them for an invasion, they will charge you a fee on top of everything else because of the risk involved in invasions. You can hire them for the amount of attacks they have per turn. So, for example, I'm just going to do a money cheat. Don't hate. Right, let's have a look. Here we go. So we're going to hire these guys. And now this group is currently working for you. However, they charge 1,132 gold per invasion. So if we charge, so they won't charge us anything else now for skirmishes. And well, actually, they're dead. But you can, with a hired mercenary group, they have an attack rate of well, it varies actually. So this is 3 attacks, 2 attacks. 2 is the minimum, 6 is the maximum. That's how many times they can attack per turn. Now, at the start of the game, it doesn't really matter because they'll probably suck. And so mercenary groups will probably not do enough damage to be able to get their 6 attacks out in a turn, but in the end it will prove worthwhile. So when you have a contract with a mercenary group, you can provide them soldiers from your own army. You can fire the mercenary group, you can request that they disband, and you can attempt assimilation, which is where you ask them to join you personally. In which case, I would, if I were to recruit these guys through assimilation, 401 soldiers I would gain, and 1 knight in the way of Ulrich the Graceless. So if I can do that now, he gathers his men, and after a short discussion, they refuse to join you. Impressive. Handles men after a short discussion, they refuse to disband, and you have fired the Red Crows from your service. So there are some special mercenary groups as well, and I believe there is a code to get them to appear, but I can't think of it right now. But special mercenary groups are things like peasants. So if the militia disbands, there's a chance that, for example, 1,200 peasants could form a mercenary group called a militia of some kind. There's also a chance that if there's enough demons, a demon overlord will form his own mercenary group. They tend to have very few troops, in the range of about 60, but they are very powerful. And you can't provide them soldiers, you can only provide them demons. And for the peasants, you can provide them peasants. So those are special mercenary groups. They're very rare to see in the game, and they will have the word special in brackets put next to them. So yeah, now you can see obviously the Ragged Prophets are destroyed. If I come back next turn, a new group has taken over their place, led by an orc. So mercenaries, a good way to wear down your enemies. And in this case, we've actually won. So you see they have 3 attacks, but if you notice here, can attack 2 more times. So they've used 1 of their 3 attacks this year. And if I hired them permanently, it would still say 2 out of 3 attacks remain. This group is currently working for you, etc. So yeah, I'm going to attempt assimilation. I'm going to keep doing it, and yeah, he gathers his men, and after a long discussion they refuse to disband, and are so unhappy with the request they decided it would be within their best interest to leave your service, though they would be open to the possibility of renegotiating a new contract. So that's pretty much it with mercenary groups. The plan for the future is that independent kingdoms and other factions will be able to also hire mercenary groups. There is one more thing, however. If we go to the laws screen and mercenary policies, there are 4 mercenary policies. The first is regular mercenary groups. You can also force that mercenary groups shrink in size, so they only get a certain amount. You can also pay a fee of 2,500 gold per turn to grant mercenary groups to allow larger ones to appear, and you can also outlaw them. So if I were to outlaw mercenary groups, I no longer have the option to hire them, but instead to attack them. So these mercenary groups are currently outlawed by your decree. They remain in their camps defiant of you. So we're going to attack the Red Crows. I'm going to send 788 peasants, 400 soldiers, 9 knights, and we slaughtered them. Absolutely. Congratulations, Red Crows have been crushed. Their mercenaries will fight no more. Some of the victims send you a reward. So I also gained 1 land. So I had 10, now I have 11. And now there is, if I go to the laws screen again, we go to mercenary laws, and I permit the mercenary companies now. The Red Crows are destroyed, but they will never return. So, because there is no territory there, obviously originally there are 5 mercenary group territories. If you outlaw mercenaries and you destroy one of them, there is no land to be occupied by a new mercenary group. So they will always be destroyed. So you can permanently wipe out mercenaries as a existing faction. It's more that once a mercenary group gets beaten or used up, they get replaced. But obviously if their land is stolen, then there is no land to be taken over by a new mercenary group. So that is pretty much everything to do with mercenaries. I think there is a small random event that can refill a lost mercenary land, but it's rare. So yeah, that's mercenaries pretty much summarized. The amount they cost to hire is based on the skill of the troops and the amount of troops they have, plus the amount of attacks they can have per turn, and whether or not they charge for invasions. So you will see some vastly different things. I think the strangest thing I've seen is a mercenary group of maybe 20 men charging the same as a group of 1,000, or not 1,000, but a group of about 200 men. And I actually hired that group of 20 men, and they were very powerful. So you'll see a lot of variation in it, but that's pretty much mercenaries summarized. So if there are any questions, don't forget to comment on Reddit or on YouTube, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. So hopefully more videos coming up soon, but this was Mercenaries Guide. I'm Hugh, thanks for watching.